Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I've set up my GoGirl budget planner. And if you've seen my first impression / flip through video that I did a few videos ago, you guys will know that I'm kind of on a mission to test out all the different types of budget planners out there, because budget planning is, I think, one of my favorite types of planning. So I figured I'd test out all the different kinds of budget planners out there, just in case any of you guys might find it helpful if you're doing your research and trying to find the one that might work out for you. So today I'm going to be going over how I've set this up so far, like filling out my financial goals and savings trackers and all that kind of stuff, and how I plan so far for the month of May. So, okay, starting with the financial goals section, which just comes immediately after like the name page here. Financial goals, there's enough for you to write down 7 goals. This is what I have. Number 1 is to pay off all of our credit card debt by November 2020. We currently have 2 credit cards. My Barclay card, which has a balance of $963 when I was writing this. It did go down since then. I think I wrote this at the beginning of the month. And then my husband's Wells Fargo at $3,065, and a total of consumer debt is $4,028. I also want to increase our emergency fund. We've actually recently had to tap into this, but I'll get into that when we go into the savings breakdown. Number 3 is to save a total of $1,628 into our miscellaneous savings account, because it'll pay for my son's last half of the dental bill. I just want to make sure we have that in there. Save $1,000 for our upcoming Hawaii trip. If we still go, I still want to make sure that we have money whether or not we go. Read 7 personal finance books. Pay off my Navient, which is my student loan debt, by December 2020. And then last one is to increase our credit scores to 800. This one, I've talked about it, I think, just a few times, but we do want to build up our credit scores so that when it's time to go look for a house and apply for a mortgage loan, that hopefully it'll be easier for us to get like a low interest rate, or however much we might qualify for might affect it too. I don't know. I'm still kind of reading up on the whole home buying process, but I do know a strong credit score is ideal. So that's what we're going to work on. Okay, so on this side here, it's my strategy and each section. So this section here, it says new skills I need to learn to achieve my financial goals. I kind of added knowledge. So financial literacy, find resources to learn about these following areas here. So the home buying process, how to increase credit scores. I want to learn more about taxes and investment accounts. But for the most part, these top 2 right here is the ones that I've kind of been reading up on. And then here in this box, it says actions I will take to earn more money. My husband, if you guys don't know, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I left my full-time job 2 years ago. My husband is the one that's working now, and he has been working more overtime because he recently acquired a new position within his company. I want to learn to take advantage of rewards programs, especially for grocery shopping. And then I want to eventually monetize my YouTube channel. If I do go back to work, these are a couple scenarios that I want to write out, pros and cons, and the cost of before school and after school daycare if I do decide to go back to work full time. And of course, to talk it over with my husband. So that's that. Actions I will take to cut my expenses. Of course, track all of our spending to make sure we're always aware of where our money is going and where we can cut back. And then to challenge myself to cut back on certain budget categories per month. So that's kind of the action plan for that. Pretty simple. And then on the next couple of pages, you do get like a savings tracker, debt payoff tracker. And here for the savings tracker, I did write myself a little note. So what I do have here in these sections, let me just take this off for now. I have a tracker for emergency fund, my son's dental bill, the last half, Hawaii allowance, and miscellaneous. So my emergency fund is in one account, And these three here are pretty much tied into one other savings account. I don't have a savings account for this, this, and this. This just is all together. I just want to make sure I have this amount plus that amount plus this amount always in our savings number 2. I like to call this my defense against my emergency fund. So we'll pull from savings account number 2 before we go to our actual emergency fund. But we barely had a chance to have our savings account number 2 to grow. So we did pull money from our emergency fund so far. So this is not the amount that we have. It's actually this amount minus 570. I did go into the ER for Mother's Day. I did have to make a payment to my gynecologist for a hospital visit, and then he also did a procedure and everything. So I don't know what my hospital bill is yet. So we're waiting for that to come in. But for now, we did make our payment to my OB. So we'll see how much our hospital bill will be, but kind of have a plan for that already. And then there's another page for savings tracker, so there's another 4. And I wrote myself a note here that for Christmas we'll just work it into our budgets. I usually tend to shop around, I would say October, November, tend to look around that time, and we can totally just work it in our budget. The only thing I have written down here is a house down payment, but we don't plan to save for that until a lot of these other things are taken care of here, and until our credit card debt is paid off. And the next ones are the debt trackers. You do only get 2 pages of this. So if you have 8 accounts or 8 debts, this will work out. But if you have more, like I did like 2 years ago, I think we had 11 or 12. We would probably have to try to add it maybe like in the back part of this or something. But for right now, we do have 4. We have 2 consumer debts or 2 credit card debts, which are these 2 here, and then my 2 student loans here. And I just wrote what it has is a starting balance here, what the minimum payment is, and then so each month you just go here where whenever a minimum payment is met, or maybe you make an extra debt payment, you can put that here. I don't have anything written on there yet. We'll see at the end of May. So that's the debt tracker. And moving on to the month of May, this is actually when I first started to plan in here, was for the month of May, even though I've had this planner for a little while. It is blank, so you're able to start whenever. And what I wrote on here, I made a note that my tracking period is from May 1st to May 28th. And if you've been following my budget with me videos or budgeting videos, you know that I like to budget bi-weekly since we do get paid bi-weekly. So I make a budget every 2 weeks or every time we get paid. As for my goals for this month, I only have 3, which are to increase our emergency fund, stay within budget in our fun and events category, and to reread Total Money Makeover, which I have not even started reading. And then I left this blank because I really didn't have anything to put, but I decided to, since I hadn't have a spot anywhere else, I decided to make this a unexpected expenses. And what I have here is one for ER visit, hospital stay, and then our OB hospital visit and procedure. I still don't know what's going to be covered or what's going to get billed to us, so I'm just kind of expecting to pay. I did have this procedure done before, it just something that came back, and I don't know if we're expecting to pay the same amount or not, or if we have to pay more because I stayed at the hospital this time around instead of it being an outpatient procedure. So we'll see what happens. And in this section here, there is a section for upcoming purchases and upcoming bills. I don't know whether or not I like that it's not lined or not, but at least I kind of had this space to write down all the bills. Here it's just upcoming purchases, which came in handy for this month because there's quite a bit of events that still happened, even though I know we're in the stay-at-home order. There's still some events that we're celebrating. For upcoming bills, the bills are only from, again, the tracking period bills from May 1st until May 28th. So these are all of our bills, and I went ahead and color coded it because I was using this information to kind of write our category / expense budget here. So I'll get to that in a little bit. But these are all of our bills, and I think that if you were to be planning a full month, You might need to either write smaller or, I don't know, maybe organize it a little bit better because I was kind of running out of space. I guess I didn't anticipate on really using up the whole thing. But these are all of our bills for this tracking period, or this paycheck, or yeah, for this tracking period. So down here you have a income section and a savings section. I wasn't sure if I was going to take up this side here to also be part of my income, because I don't know whether or not we're going to need another line for whether or not I decide to dip into our savings again should our hospital bill come in and we need more funds to cover it, but we'll see. So what I have on here is our leftover balance from April that I carried over, our May 1st paycheck, what's budgeted here, and an actual here. I just kind of drew a line there. This is supposed to be May 15th. I don't know why I crossed it out, but it's supposed to be our May 15th paycheck here. Our leftover amount from the May 1st paycheck. And then I did take out, like I said, from our emergency fund, and I also did take out money from our savings number 2. So that's what that is. And we were planning to save a little bit more and paying off debt this month. However, I just don't know how much our hospital bill is going to be, and I'd rather it be sitting in our checking account for now, all that the extra money that we have. So that's that. And here on the monthly budget section, I wasn't sure how I was going to use this. I just kind of did it similar to how I do it for the budget by paycheck workbook, since I do know what my budget categories are, because at first I was thinking of listing out all of the bills here and then just my variable expenses, but I decided to just do it this way. So my budget categories are, this section here is going to be for the month, so rent, total debt, our utility for the month, insurance, savings, and medical. And then for my variable spending here, I broke it down into 2. This is for our May 1st paycheck, and then this is for our May 15th paycheck, because like I said, I like to do, I set new budgets for my variable spending once we get paid. I'll close out the May 1st paycheck before I continue doing our May 15th to 28th budget. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's our bi-weekly budget. Sometimes our budgets stay the same, sometimes they change. May 1st to May 14th, this is what I kind of assigned, dollar amounts that I assigned to these categories. So for food, it's $250, transportation $70, household $45, kids $30, my husband $80, myself $30, fun and events $150, and miscellaneous $51. And some of the categories kind of stay the same or are kind of close in dollar amount. Sometimes with the very beginning of the month, so this section here, we don't have that many bills. We do have a chunk of our bills towards the end of the month. So sometimes this will either be less, but since we do get paid on May 29th and rent will be covered with the May 29th paycheck, we kind of can continue this budget as kind of normal, I guess. So yeah, that's that. And this is my recap, or my my closeout. So what we actually spent for this week, or these 2 weeks, and then the difference here. I just forgot to put down whether or not I was over here, and I'll go over more of that when I do. I don't know if I'm going to do like a monthly recap with this planner or not. We'll see. So far, oh, and here at the bottom, there's a section for total income, total expenses, and the difference. We'll see when we get to the end of the month if I'm going to come back here and show you guys how I recapped it. So in the expense tracker, I did white out a couple things and added a line or a column, because as I was filling it out, a couple whiteouts here, but as I was filling it out, let me see if I can show you a blank one. So this is how it originally looks like. There's a date, description, category, and amount, but since I'm always checking my checking account and making sure we balance, that's what these check marks are here. So what I ended up doing was just drawing in a line for balance. So I have date, description, category, amount, and balance. So this is the only thing that I really added on here because I like to check against my checking account to make sure that it's the same amount on there. Otherwise, I'd have to go back and check to see where there's a discrepancy. And for the most part, as long as I'm tracking just fine, it's usually just balanced. Unless I miss something, or sometimes transactions fall off or get added back in and stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to highlight it or not like I do with my budget by paycheck workbook, but for now this is how I have it. And I did draw in a line for when the tracking period ended for the May 1st paycheck, just so I know. And then with certain, I forgot to make a note here on the side, but for transactions just like this, like on Amazon, I do break down what categories were spent with this whole transaction. So with this whole like one transaction, it totaled up to like 141 different categories were on there. So myself, kids, fun, household, and miscellaneous. So 5 different things. I don't do like separate purchases. I just kind of just buy the whole thing, and then just break it down myself with tax and all of that. So that's that. And that's it for the expense tracker. And in case you guys are wondering, we mostly use our debit card, and I know right now we're not really supposed to really use cash, but for the most part we are using just our debit card. And then here towards the end of the month, maybe I will come back and show you guys how I fill this out. Just a monthly budget review. My battery's about to die, so really quickly I'm going to show you guys in the back section what I did. I decided for now, on the back pages, I added my budget categories here. So all of our bills and income categories here, and our variable budgets here. I also added seasonal things on here like clothes, travel, and Christmas. For the clothes, for the most part, we don't really buy it in bulk or anything like that. It's just whenever we need clothes, I'll just tie it into the budget. But I just have it on here just in case maybe we might need it. I don't know, but that's just on there. So yeah, I don't know what else I'll be using the dot grid pages for, but if anything comes to mind, I'll make sure to share it. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one. Have a great day, guys. Bye.